Lucia as the Youth and Sports Officer for the Castries Basin. For those of you who've been following my career, I started off in Grosley as a Social Transformation Officer, moved over to Dennery, North and South, and I'm now the newly appointed Youth and Sports Officer for the entire Castries Basin. I'm talking about South Castries, Central Castries, Castries Southeast, which is Marsha, Marsha and surrounding areas. I have a terrible feedback in my ear right now, it's a bit distracting. Also the Castries North area as well, inclusive of the Roseau Valley. So you could well understand that is, in terms of population, close to 70,000. That is pretty much from the Badlil all the way over to just behind the cinema in terms of the area I will be covering. And so we met last week with the Marsha Football Council, and they introduced me to the rest of the executive and the affiliates, and immediately they announced that they were having the Philip J. Pierre Invitational Competition, and I was able to go on and definitely check that out, doing my killing kind of two birds in one stone, going over to the Marsha playing field and taking in, we have some pictures from that for you guys. I'm taking in some of the competition, and the first game played in this competition, it featured defending champions. Well, I shouldn't say defending champions, I'm not sure about that, but absolute powerhouse in local club football. Big players, of course, big players getting ready to play in the Division 1 Cup on Wednesday. They have a very, very interesting, very important game on Wednesday, as they, in terms of points, they're tied on points with Platinum FC and also Platinum FC and VSADC on top of the Division 1 Cup. And so they will be playing in some very, very important. As a matter of fact, I was having a short conversation with Nigel Kong Francis while he was in a technical area, and I was telling him the balance of the games that they're playing is they should consider it to be $35,000 games. Because obviously the winner will win $10,000, and they will also get $25,000 towards the trip to the CONCACAF Club Championship. And so the balance of their games are very, very costly. And they came up against big players. Let me see if I can get that for you guys. Big players played in that game there. They came out on top. We saw the likes of Lincoln Phillip on the score sheet, no surprise there, and Valdez Maximum, two very, very good players for the Marsha community, from the Marsha community, and they won the 3-0. So Valdez Maximum got on the score sheet in the 17th minute, and we saw he had a brace in that game. He also scored in the 33rd minute, and Lincoln Phillip, they will be depending on these two to see them through if they are going to come out on top. They also have a huge goal difference to make up, but as they've said, if they win that game, at the end of the day, they will be a superior in points, which is the main goal from them. So, very good football game that ended 3-0 in favor of big players. They came up against Lakudu, that is Lincoln Phillip, you're seeing right there on your screen. They say veteran, but every time somebody describes him as a veteran, I chuckle, because when we see him run on the field as fit as ever, fitter than most of the young persons on the field, outpacing, most importantly, outpacing a lot of them on the field. And they pretty much played, a number of players from their team did not even show up in that game. As I said, Nigel Kong Francis was on the bench, just in the technical area, obviously resting for the big game on Wednesday, and they still came out and won that game 3-0. All right. Okay. So in the second game, the second game was on Sunday, March 4th. Flames took on Toughest, and Flames, they came up against Toughest. Jason Sidney started things off for Flames in the first half. Leroy Bertrand registered a brace in the second half for them in the 52nd and 54th minute, and the Flames won that game 3-0. Okay, so lots of activities in the Philip J. Pierre Super Cup Invitational Tournament. They asked me to make sure I got it right for all of St. Lucia. They don't want to get any problems with the SLFA. So it's the Philip J. Pierre Super Cup Invitational that got underway last weekend. Obviously, matches continue this weekend, and all games are played. That's Valdez Maximin on the screen right now. Very talented striker. Remember the name for Marsha, and Marsha. They just have not gotten over the line in terms of black hat football, but always in the mix, and we'll see what happens in terms of the development of their game in the next year and the coming season as well. So very, very good stuff coming out from Marsha. I wonder that picture that we're looking at right now, Lincoln Phillip and that spanner. It's been around forever. It's trademark move. I was happy I got that picture because on every single occasion you watch a game, at some point it's coming, and guess what? Nobody can stop it. It still comes, and it's either through the leg or cross and towards goal for Lincoln Phillip. And so, very exciting competition. We're encouraging the young persons in the community, in fact, everybody in the community, to go out and take in some of that football competition. Good quality football. Obviously, you would still want more in terms of, additional sort of skill displayed on the field, goalkeeping and everything. But definitely, I took in a under 15 competition sometime towards the end of last year. Let me tell you, the talent in that area is definitely not lacking. And so we're looking forward to more games this coming weekend. Definitely will be there to cover and take some more pictures and bring it to you guys. All right, so that's the Marsha, the Philip J. Pierre Cup Invitational Tournament, Philip J. Pierre Invitational Cup. All right, so very, very interesting. All right, I also was able to take in some football at the Roseau Valley. In the Roseau Valley Football League, they had a soccerama that was on Saturday. Very, very, let me tell you, I went over to the Marigo playing field, and once you got to the John Odlum Secondary School, let me tell you, traffic, vehicles packed along the side of the road, and then when you look down, the lighting was much to be desired from what I was told. Something went awry with the second vehicle that was supposed to be providing lighting, but that did not stop people from coming there. And obviously we have some pictures for you guys from there as well. The Roseau Valley Football League Soccerama, and I was able to speak to a number of individuals who are definitely looking forward to the coming season from the Roseau Valley. And interesting because I will be working closely with that league, as I said in my opening sort of statements, an area of interest for me. I will be meeting with individuals from that league in the not too distant future to pretty much chart a course forward to ensure that competitions are held even at a higher level, and try to see how we can maximize the amount of individuals that actually attend football in that area. And if you look at the population, if you look at the surrounding areas, if you look at Cicero, not far from there, Lacroix, not far from there, you look at Roseau Valley, not far from there, people coming from Millet, people coming from all those surrounding areas, and absolutely bumper crowd. I just wish I could have had more lighting to take some more pictures, but persons were definitely not shy. People were still asking for their pictures. People didn't care whether or not lighting was was optimum or not. They wanted their pictures, and so we definitely took in some of that. Now, the competition on the field, a lot of the interest seemed to be off the field in terms of the conversation. A lot of conversation on the way forward in terms of football, club football, the ancillary football competition that we're going to talk about briefly in a little bit, and obviously some of the competition. This competition ended after 1 o'clock, St. Lucia. I mean, persons were there on the field until after 1. For me, what Marigo is to, let's just say what the Larissa's playing field is to the Mabia Valley, is what the Marigo playing field is to the Castries area. If you're looking for an area where when there is football, there's a crowd in Castries, that field would be the Marigo playing field. Absolutely bumper crowd, and similar to the Mabia Valley in the sense that, hey, as you could see, they're very well dressed, makeup well done. Persons come out, to enjoy the social event that is the sport of football. And you can see a shot of the crowd there, really enjoying just the atmosphere. Good music, obviously. Music is part of sport, and so persons were definitely enjoying themselves. Now, what we saw was it was a knockout competition, and so you would find that it's sort of like a fast-paced competition where you lose and you out, win and you in. And towards the end, we saw Cooley Town. Cooley Town came up against Quality Ballers, and these were the two teams in the final, Cooley Town and the Quality Ballers. Unfortunately, I was not there to the end. I could tell St. Lucia that after a while, I got really, really tired. I was not there to the end, but I was told that the final was definitely keenly contested. Both teams came out, obviously with the crowd there and the persons wanting to win. It was very, very keenly contested. And in that close encounter, Cooley Town defeated Quality Ballers 1-0. All right, that game ended 1-0. And so Cooley Town, the champions of the Roseau Valley Football League Soccerama 2018, which was held on Saturday, 3rd March. All right, so lots of excitement over there on the field, lots of individuals around. As you could see, that's Dr. Ernest Hilaire, who's a parliamentary rep for Cicero, in fact, Castries South, obviously in the mix for some of the football action that was taking place right there at the Marigot playing field. So earlier, I think we had a shot of Dominic Fede, who's also, is from, his constituency is in the Roseau area, that's Roseau, Ancillary, and the Canneries area, but he was also there to take in some of the action at the field. And so we saw all the persons, we saw young, we saw middle-aged, we saw not so young, we saw everybody, male, female, coming over at the Marigot playing field to take in some of the football action. And we saw all the races too. Everybody was there, enjoying it. All right, so definitely some good stuff there at the Marigot playing field on the weekend. Also on the weekend, like I said earlier, moved from Marigot over to the Ancillary playing field and had to definitely take in the Dominic Fede sponsored Ancillary Canneries Roseau Valley competition, and it is the first time that we have a competition that spans from the Roseau Valley all the way up to Canneries. We have clubs being involved in that competition, and we saw a match pass, as we indicated in the news. We saw a match pass. We saw speeches from some of the individuals there, that is Dominic Fede and the rest of his crew in terms of organizing that football competition. Now, definitely Ancillary, I have to give my shout outs in Ancillary. During my national duties under 17 and under 20 football, we had the Chad Senkwa, obviously very skillful young man. Haven't seen him in a while, obviously not in St. Lucia. We had Michel also in goal, and obviously some really good players. Lawrence Senkwa, part of the team, and definitely let me shout out the entire Senkwa family, the Augustine family, obviously a talented football crews in Ancillary, and let me tell you, the place was packed. All around the field was individuals coming in to take in some of that football action. I see the pictures have already started. So what we're going to do is we're going to restart this thing, and we're just going to play the montage with all the music and all the fanfare from the Ancillary football competition, which includes Ancillary, Canneries, and the Roseau Valley. So let's start that over for them, Junior.
Thank you very much for being part of it. And this is a clear signal of my government's commitment to the development of youth and sports in this constituency and throughout, indeed, the land of St. Lucia. I thank you so very much. Let the competition begin. Let the games begin.
Moto there, moto there, moto there. Hey, hey. Father Fox, Father Fox, Father Fox. I wanna mash up, you wanna mash up. We gonna mash up anything we have. We coming to share on that, share. 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 Where the Lucian passe there, share on that. Where the Jab passe there, share on that. Put that bomba there, make the bomba la. Put that bomba shell down that. Shell down. We coming to shell down that. Shell down.
From the time we touch the stage, the whole place in a rage. Man don't start to misbehave. Girls start to walk that waist. And by your knee, girl, set up yourself and spin that bumper like windmill. Go round and round and round and round and round and round and still push back for me and let me jam it, jam, jam, ching, rum up your tonic. If she bam bam big, don't panic, shell it down, Titanic. We ain't watching her face, let me turn up in here. Father Fox and Moto, come we shell down the place. We coming to shell down that.
All the Bajan gal them.
We coming to shell down that.
All the Lucian gal them.
We coming to shell down that.
All the Trinity gal them.
We coming to shell down that.
Shell down that. Shell it down now. Shell it down now. Somebody say shellings.
Yo, 50 girl them there. Once again, 50 girl over there. Uncle Ellie's there. Someone's in there. Lucian girl them, Trinity girl them. Boom 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 boom. If you back bend, well I in that position. Let me spin that. If you crack bend me between that. Show me how you can take that. If your back bend, well I in that position. Let me spin that. If you crack bend me between that. Show me how you can take that. 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 Take that.
Hands on the knees and bend.
Position. Let me spin that.
Like a bumper, bend.
Show me how you can take
Think in your back and bend.
when I do that.
Hands on the knees and bend. Ready, set,
My girl inna the pum pum shot. When go down inna your pum pum shot, you look funny inna your pum pum shot. If you want that shot, girl, take snapshot. My girl just come stick it, play with your bumper like me play cricket. And me gonna throw my balls in your wicket. You get it? Well, if your back bend, well I in that position, let me spin that. If you crack bend me between that, show me how you can take that.
If you want to wine, I will get that. Bend over, let me hit that. If you want to wine, I will get that. Bend over, let me hit that.
My girl, when go down and touch that. Is my girl, me won't touch that. Make sure mommy go spot that, spot that, spot that, spot that.
Hands on the knees and bend. Push back a bumper, bend. Think in your back and bend.
Position, let me spin
Hands on the knees and bend.
Show me how you can take
Think in your back and bend. Hands on the knees and bend.
My girl inna the pum pum shot. When go down inna your pum pum shot, you look funny inna your pum pum shot. If you want that shot, girl, take snapshot. My girl just come stick it, play with your bumper like me play cricket. And me gonna throw my balls in your wicket. You get it? Well, if your back bend, well I in that position, let me spin that. If you crack bend me between that, show me how you can take that.
If you want to wine, I will get that. Bend over, let me hit that. If you want to wine, I will get that. Bend over, let me hit that.
My girl, when go down and touch that. Is my girl, me won't touch that. Make sure mommy go spot that. When spoon your knees can rock that. You body inna the bed, girl. Position, go on your head, girl. Then flip it down and then bring it down. And then push it down with the mango long. If your back bend, well I in that position, let me spin that. If you crack bend me between that, show me how you can take that.
If you want to wine, I will get that. Bend over, let me hit that. If you want to wine, I will get that. Bend over, let me hit that. Bend. Push back a bumper, bend. Think in your back and bend.
Position, let me spin
Hands
that.
on the knees and
Bend me between that. Show me how
Okay, welcome back to 758 Sports Talk. We apologize for the break in continuity. Definitely being sure that we get everything right for you tonight. Now, just before we went into break, we spoke of the ancillary football league, the ancillary Canaries Roseau Valley competition, and we had some results for you. Les going down in that game. Les pretty much making a reputation of coming back in second halves this year in the Division 1 club competition, and Les playing at a higher level in terms of the competitions in St. Lucia. Millet coming out and defeating Les 2-1, and so the competition will continue, and I will continue to ensure that we bring the pictures and updates from ancillary. It's ancillary's turn. We've been in the Mabia Valley, we've been in Soufrière, Vieux-Fort, Grosley. It's ancillary's time to shine in terms of their football and their activities. Ancillary, obviously we mentioned ancillary has been as a team to look out for in the Black Art competition. They shocked many. A very good game. I'll never forget that game in Vieux-Fort against Vieux-Fort South. Very close to upsetting Vieux-Fort in their backyard in the Black Art competition. Lots of talent in that community, and so we saw some pictures a little bit earlier of some of their talented players. Jal Augustin, one of them to actually look out for, won the Flow Challenge last year. Definitely talented player, and I'll be looking to see them play. I think they're playing on Wednesday. Obviously, somebody could send me a message in terms of the fixture for the coming week and weekend. I know there are matches at Marigot on Wednesday. I think All Stars play on Wednesday at Marigot. Definitely be taking that in, as well as some other fixtures. All right, also some information for you briefly before I get to my guests. And I guess if you know my guests, you know where we're heading to tonight. Leclerc, a football league. The Castries North Parliamentary Rep competition. That's Honorable Stevenson King. The competition gets underway on Sunday, 11th March from 5:15 p.m. Agard United will take on Lancers, and Better Thinkers will take on Leclerc Veterans at 7:15. That's on a Sunday, 11th March. And as I said earlier, another a community that falls under my purview had an opportunity to meet with the league and have a nice little discussion on the way forward. Leclerc, definitely one of the communities that love their football, and so this weekend for sure, again, killing two birds with one stone, we'll be in that community. 5:15, Agard United versus Lancers, and then followed by at 7:15, Better Thinkers against Leclerc Veterans. Definitely stuff to look out for. All right, so tonight we're getting into cricket. We're going to have a thorough discussion on all things cricket. We're talking about youth cricket, middle-aged cricket, female cricket, West Indies cricket, CPL cricket, and tonight my guest is none other than the first vice president of the St. Lucia National Cricket Association, Mr. Sean Alcindor. Welcome to the set of 758 Sports Talk.
Thank you very much, Kenson. You said if you know your guests, you heading to Leclerc, and I was like, Leclerc? I'm from Soufrière, come on, man.
Oh, no. I know where you're from, but I know what you're doing, and there is cricket you're involved in. Although you're doing your rugby thing and that sort of thing, but that's for another show.
Rugby's a pastime.
Yeah, that's for another show. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, for those of you, for our viewers who don't know much about you, and how cricket has been in terms of St. Lucia, the first vice president. How has it been developing so far?
Well, where should I begin? I think I should begin at the start. I became president of the Soufrière Youth and Sports Council, I believe, in 2006. And I got to attend a number of different meetings and FA and cricket. And I just liked the vibe in cricket a little bit more. FA had all that politics and stuff. So when I got asked,
so you saying cricket didn't have politics?
No, we didn't have that. We didn't have all these that politics back then. Yeah. Now we have issues since Dave came in. Okay. But I kind of like the vibe with cricket. So when I was asked to serve on the executive of the Cricket Association, I jumped at the opportunity. So I've been on the executive of the Cricket Association, I believe, since 2009. So that's about 9 years of my life right there, being involved in cricket. I started off as a second vice president, so my responsibilities were mainly youth programs. Okay. And later on, I got elected as the first vice president. So now I'm responsible for all national teams, etc. The president now focuses, since he's become a director of WICB, he focuses a lot on the international and the regional scene, and I try to work closely with the operations manager to handle a lot of what is the local cricket scene in St. Lucia.
All right, the good stuff. And we saw this weekend, I'll jump into the local cricket, we saw this weekend the commencement of the Division 1 competition.
Yes.
How's that going?
We changed the cricket, the first Division 1 cricket a little, in that we used to have a promotional league and a first division. We decided we'd just have one league where we'd play the 2-day cricket. So everybody gets that opportunity to play a little bit more cricket, and afterwards we'll play some OD limited overs, 50 overs later on in the season. We currently, previously the Windward Islands tournament, the senior men's Windward Islands tournament used to be in about November, October, November, but it has been changed to about May because of the introduction of the Premier League. Okay. So because of that, the professional league, because of that, players need to get drafted. So we now have the Windward Islands tournament in May. Okay. And from there, they shortlist a bunch of guys, and then you have the draft about June, and then from there, guys get to earn a living over for, is it about 8 months out of the year. Pay is really good, so all those who make the team get some really good money. Okay. Yeah.
So there's some scope to get involved in cricket and be a semi-pro.
There's some scope. You're not semi-pro, you're professional. Because all you have to do is play cricket. When you go out and play matches, you could make as much as what, $1,200 per match. Okay, as well as your monthly salary over an 8-month period. So the guys make some good money.
All right, that's not bad. Yeah. That's not too bad at all.
That's not too bad.
All right.
That's not shabby at all.
All right, St. Lucia, again, I must say the number to message is 4880929. Do not call that number. You could send WhatsApp messages at 4880929. Now, we have a lot to discuss tonight. Because for one, we'll get into that CPL draft a little bit later, because I kind of vented on Vibe Radio the other day, but I have to do it on TV because in terms of the Stars, I know the St. Lucia National Cricket Association is not responsible for what the Stars does. I know that. But
we have, I told you earlier, and I'll say it again on TV, and I say it to everybody whenever they ask. The St. Lucia National Cricket Association has no involvement whatsoever with CPL. CPL is a CPL is a private entity, and we have no. When I go to CPL matches, I just go to watch cricket, and that's it. Okay, that's one of the few. That's one of the few occasions I just get to sit back, kick back, have a Peter. Peter is a good beer. Don't forget that. Or Blue Waters, and enjoy cricket.
I come and endorse Peter on myself. Anyway, yes, but anyway, I mean, definitely but like I told you, we're having a cricket discussion, and if we're having a cricket discussion, we're going to definitely touch on CPL. If you don't want,
we could touch on CPL. I will give you my opinion, okay, on what is on CPL, but as I indicated, the Cricket Association has no involvement with CPL.
You'll have to make sure you get that out there.
Yes, very early.
I wonder why. But anyway, let's talk about. All right, so we're talking about local cricket. We also saw the commencement.
If we could begin with World Cup.
No. You have to. You
don't want me to take over.
No, you're about to tune in, tap into the inner Rick Win of me. This is my show. You cannot just tell me what we're going into. Master United Insurance. We're working our way up to World Cup.
Master United Insurance.
Under 19 cricket competition. That's not.
Okay, go ahead. Let me drink some water.
Blue
waters.
Just now, Mr. Asin. Patience. Have some patience. Have some patience. We saw the commencement of the Master United Under 19 Insurance cricket competition, and for many of us, this is where it starts. Kimari Melius also features in that competition, and he's had a double century in that competition so far. How important is schools cricket to the overall development of cricket in St. Lucia?
Actually, you are wrong there. It doesn't begin with the Master United Under 19 cricket tournament. it actually begins a lot earlier with the kiddie cricket program in the primary schools. The kiddie cricket program is run by the Cricket Association in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and Sports and Scotiabank and WICB. So this program actually starts in the primary school, Standard 4. So you have a number of children who actually get involved in that program, and this is the first area where they get to showcase their skills. At the end of the season, you have each district has its own competition. And from the district competition, then you have the national competition. So we have 8 school districts. Each district is represented in the final competition. So this is the first program to develop skills. Then you have, of course, the under 15 tournament that is held in the schools. And then afterwards, you have the under 19 tournament. A lot of children.
But I thank you very much for going back in chronology, because I don't think there's any doubt that I know for sure kiddie cricket is the beginning. But we're talking about schools cricket. So I want to zoom in right now, because I mean, we cannot get into every single aspect. What we have going on right now is the Mass United under 19 cricket competition. My question to you is, how important is this cricket competition towards the development of our cricket in St. Lucia? And we've seen Kimani Melius doing very well in this competition, and we've seen his exploits overseas. So this is what I'm asking you about right now.
All tournaments, every time a young cricketer gets the opportunity to play, it can only bode well for them later on down the road.
Yeah.
All right. The Mass United under 19 tournament, I played in it when I was much, much younger. Okay. You were probably still in diapers then. But I played in that tournament a long time ago, and it can only bode well for any cricketer. Okay, coming out of the school system now, then you graduate into the under 19 division. Okay, and a lot of young men and women actually develop in the district under 19 competition. So you actually see people excelling. And because one of the things that we've worked on is that we've worked on getting coaches trained. Actually, this year, one of the things that we're going to ensure is that as many coaches as possible within the national system are able to acquire the level 1. So in September of this year, we'll have the level 1 coaching certification in St. Lucia. I remember, was it sometime earlier this year or late last year, you mentioned that one of the, I think it was boxing or maybe football, they had a first aid component to theirs. To be able to get the level 1 certification, it's recognized worldwide. You need to do what is known as a child protection workshop. The child protection workshop is run in conjunction with the Department of Child Services. Elizabeth Lewis is actually the one who runs that department. So we work with them to run that program. You also need to do the foundation course. So the foundation course tells you about the basics of coaching, okay, psychology, etc. You need to do a first aid component, and you need to have a police character certificate supplied to you, because we won't allow any and everybody. If you have skeletons in your closet, we won't allow you around the children.
Okay, all right. Okay. So thank you very much for that little expose on all of that stuff. Currently, right now, we have this competition. We have the Mass United. Have you taken in any of the games so far?
I promised my former captain, his son is playing for Leon Hess, and I promised my former captain I'll take in a few games, but I have not gotten the privilege. Of course, I will be supporting my alma mater the entire way. Yeah. But I haven't been able to take in any of the games.
So how closely is the
Cricket Association
working with the ministry and obviously the sponsors to ensure that this is run smoothly?
We're not working closely at all.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. We happen to be at the Ministry of Sports discussing Women's World Cup when they had the launch for the Massey United on the 19 tournament. So we are not invited.
Yeah, we're not invited.
We are not invited. We just happened to be there at the time.
Okay.
Okay. And we asked to sit in the back whilst it went on.
All right. Any reason why you the lead organization of cricket and development would not be involved in?
Why? You should ask. You work in the Ministry of Sports, right? You should ask in there.
I do have the Ministry of Sports on set. I don't have you. I mean, as a vice president, you should have some inclination as to why you would have a leading organization responsible for sports development, not responsible or in the forefront of the under 19, very salient under 19 that you identified as a very important competition. I realized you went to cricket as if, to try to sidetrack from the under 19 competition. But a competition as salient as that, doesn't it say something if you guys are not involved in the direct organization and development of that competition?
Well, as I indicated, it's a Ministry of Youth and Sports decision, and I would not want to air any bad blood because we have a really good working relationship with the Ministry of Youth and Sports. They made their decision as to how they're going to run the tournament. We would love to be part of it if they decide in their wisdom to involve us in the planning and the preparation for the tournament. But at present, we are not involved in the tournament.
Okay, so
but we go out and we look at the matches. I remember a few years ago there were two boys I saw performing at the Massey United on the 19 tournament, and I had them. Although they played for South Castries, I believe, I had them called up for national training, for national team selection, on the 19 national team selection. They didn't make the cut, however, but I did pick them out of the Massey United tournament to go onto national team training.
All right, okay, fair enough. I think one of the questions generally we'll be asking in terms of organization of regional cricket competitions in St. Lucia. Remember, we had a situation where individuals were speaking about the St. Lucia National Cricket Association's involvement in sort of marketing cricket and making it something that persons can be attracted to and draw nigh to when we have regional competitions. How much work are you guys putting into ensuring that this is happening?
First of all, we don't get a marketing budget for any regional games. We get a very small budget and then we have to make it work, basically. A large percentage of what we get goes to the hotels and SSI. Okay. These are the largest payments that we make.
Okay.
All right? And Blue Waters gets a huge chunk too. But we get no marketing budget. We've tried to do all kinds of promotions. We've had the matches for free. We've had a small donation of $5. I think there's a match that we even had a donation of a tin good because we are collecting for Dominica. And still, you get absolutely nobody in the stands. You have all the stars. You have Devon Smith and.
But why do you think so, though? Why do you think that persons are not coming?
St. Luke, I wouldn't say we don't have when we have matches at Mindufile Park, when we have matches in the out districts, you have a large turnout. However, whenever you come to Beausejour, it's very, very difficult to get people to come there. Okay. Last year, we had India, Virat Kohli, Sourav Ganguly, all of these guys were here for a test match. All right? The turnout was terrible. On the opening day, we had about 400 persons. Half of them, 3/4 of them were Indian. Okay? In spite of the fact that we only had 443 people on opening day, very few of the tickets used were comp tickets. We had 443 people on opening day. We still were the best in terms of the region. So what is happening in the region is that a lot of West Indians are not coming to cricket. It's not priority for them to come to cricket anymore. The heyday, the glory days of cricket is waning, and people find it more difficult to want to come to watch West Indies.
Okay, but we've heard a lot of that in terms of regional cricket and persons not interested in coming and that sort of thing. But as an organization, aren't you all supposed to be the visionaries? And what are some of the things you guys are going to put in place to
for the Women's World Cup? We're currently working on an extensive marketing plan for the Women's World Cup in terms of giveaways, getting the females from the secondary schools and the primary schools to come out. So we're working on an extensive marketing plan. We actually have our first official LOC meeting for the Women's World Cup this coming Thursday at the Ministry of Youth and Sports offices. So we're working on developing an extensive marketing plan to ensure that people come out for the ICC Women's Tournament. And of course, it's going to be the first time it's a standalone tournament. Okay. Previously, it had always been grouped alongside the men's tournament. So ICC is actually trying something new, having a separate T20, women's T20 tournament. So, and the test bed is the Caribbean. So Guyana, St. Lucia, and Antigua will be the test bed countries for this first inaugural tournament. Yeah.
All right. So you said that you made it your opening statement that
abundantly clear. I hope I made it.
You made it abundantly clear. But personally, in my opinion, I find that kind of impossible. Let me just say that for the St. Lucia National Cricket Association to not have any involvement with CPL or anything to do with the Stars franchise. It's tantamount to you having a football competition in St. Lucia and saying the St. Lucia Football Association has no sort of role to play in that. For me, if that is the case, something is wrong. That for me, it says that at least on some level, there's supposed to be some interaction somewhere. If this is something that you don't want to go towards or that sort of thing, fine. But if there is absolutely zero involvement, like there is zero politics in cricket, then that's special.
There's
but anyway,
zero politics in cricket, in local cricket.
In local cricket, all right. So, but anyway, I wanted to definitely touch on St. Lucia. I definitely had to touch on CPL. And I definitely had to talk on the CPL draft. For me...
It's a very good team on paper.
For me, I am personally not impressed. I guess he will give you his impression after. I am not impressed with, first of all, the way the draft was sort of conducted when it came to the St. Lucia Stars. I just, like I've said on a previous show, I just did not think it was nice for the actual owner of the franchise to be right in the mix. I just personally believe when you as an individual working by yourself, it's different from when your boss is right there. You just have a different department. Subconsciously, it's just different for you. So for me, I was just not very happy with that from beginning. The first pick of the draft, St. Lucia picked Lyndall Simmons. Now, I have to hasten to say that Lyndall Simmons is definitely world-class in terms of an opening batsman. When he's good, he's good.
When he's in form.
When he's in form. As to whether or not my first pick would have been Lyndall Simmons, I'm not sure. But definitely a good pick. He can definitely contribute. He can destroy any ball in attack, and so that is fine. All right. Then we moved on to Kieran Pollard. Kieran Pollard was selected by the St. Lucia Stars in the second pick, with the second pick in the draft. Darcy Short was then selected, the big hitter from Australia. Then we had Darren Sammy selected with the fourth pick of the draft. And then we had Ruman Reis from Pakistan, a very good bowler, not bad. Then the sixth pick was Andre Fletcher. Definitely wanted Fletcher to be retained. Very good opening batter. So we'll see a Simmons-Fletcher opening team for St. Lucia Stars. Mitchell McConaughey. That was perhaps my biggest disappointment because I was not impressed with him last time.
He was not impressive at all last tournament.
During that time, you had Samuel Badri still on the board, one of the best T20 bowlers in history. Yes, he's on the back end of his career, but I would still pick him ahead of Mitchell McConaughey, although McConaughey can hit the ball at times, not very bad with the bat at all, but he just has not worked. And then you had Shadab Khan still on the board. For me, Shadab Khan would be somebody just if I want to just disrupt Trinidad and the firepower in the bowling department with Bravo, with Narain, with the other young bowler from Ghana, I would have just decided to take Shadab Khan because he's a very good bowler for me, useful. Then we went with Keswick Williams. I like that pick. Williams, he's pretty aggressive. I like his little groove and his little swagger. I like that about him.
You want him to take somebody else?
Other person's names and put it in his book. Cornwall was an interesting pick for me, the big guy, because
Rakim Cornwall has been in form. He's been hitting really well recently.
Even with West Indies A and obviously
with the Leewards.
The Leewards as well. So he's been doing well. So at the end of the day, we picked a team that at the end of the day still is devoid of a, let's just say, we have a lot of all-rounders. I think Pollard is good. He's great.
We have too many all-rounders.
We have a lot of all-rounders, but I'm not sure that this team, as
Lendl Simmons is also an all-rounder. He bowls a.
I wouldn't put Lendl Simmons.
Fair, I'd say
gentle medium pace.
Military medium pace.
But I wouldn't have Simmons as somebody that I would count on to go and take wickets for me. That's why
he takes a few. Yeah. Because what was it? Joe Root came out to bowl and he was able to. And Joe Root is not somebody who actually
every now and then part-timers come in
part-timers come in and they can do a little something.
But generally, what did you think about the draft?
On paper, we have a really good team. I'm disappointed that we only picked one wicket keeper in Fletcher. Okay, because was it 2 years ago? Fletcher got injured.
Johnson Charles, that was last year.
No, 2 years ago.
That was the year before.
Fletcher got injured.
And Johnson Charles had to take the gloves.
No. Darren Sammy had to take the gloves. Johnson, 3 years ago. Johnson was not on the team yet.
St. Lucia can't confirm that. I think it was either last year or the year before Johnson Charles took the gloves for St. Lucia Stars.
Yeah, but Fletcher has a habit of getting injured. So it would be interesting to see who they pick amongst, because they have the Windward Islands normally gives 4 youth players. The wonderful thing about Kimani, he can also hold those gloves.
Okay, Kimani can do everything. But anyway, I wanted to get into a separate discussion about Kimani. But yes.
You also have if Sunil Ambris is better by then, and if he gets picked, because you still have a few more spots left on the squad. Sunil Ambris would be a very good backup keeper in case anything happens to Andrew Fletcher.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, even in the draft, that I'm not sure that you're going to draft a wicket keeper just because you have an individual you're not sure of. You're definitely not going in there thinking we need to get 2 wicket keepers.
You also need an additional batsman. If you need an additional batsman, Sunil Ambris will give you that flexibility.
Which is why I thought they should have picked Colin Monroe, who was on the board late, and Trinidad still came around and picked him up, and he absolutely destroyed the West Indian bowling attacks all last season, and we still didn't pick him up. Again, I was disappointed with that. What do you think? Before we're going to open the lines in a while, we're going to take a break and open the lines, but I just want to get your impression in terms of the captaincy. Pollard as captain of St. Lucia Stars.
Pollard. Let's try to be politically correct. Pollard has seen better years. I was not terribly impressed with his captaincy last year and the previous year for Barbados Pride. I still think that Darren Sam is one of the best captains we have in the Windward Islands and I'd say in the West Indies. He can do it even on one leg. Okay, so I do not think that Pollard was the right choice. Okay, that's just my opinion, and well, we'll see how it takes root.
All right, okay, so we're going to take our second break, and when we come back, for sure, we're going to open the phone lines. I'm going to read some of your messages. You're going to tell us, what do you think? What do you think of the CPL draft? What did you think? Did you think St. Lucia Stars got it right? What do you think about the leadership of the team in terms of the captain? And generally, just your opinion on local cricket development, the West Indies team. And there's just so much you could get into for cricket. But tonight I want to delve into these salient issues. So we'll take a break.
There's so much more to talk about.
Yeah, we'll take a break. But when we come back, we'll take in your calls. All right, welcome back to 758 Sports Talk, and we're discussing cricket and all the events of the previous weekend. We have a caller. We have our very first caller. The number to call is 451-9788. Our very first caller. Good evening. You're live. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, look, I want to talk about cricket. I talk about football. There are certain veteran players who want to play for B1. They want to keep. The football association, the president, telling he can't play for B1. And I look because he's a veteran. If he keep for B1, they say he can't play veterans. And I'm looking at Satan playing. He played for VS and he played in ancillary.
Okay, so you're saying, okay, I can't substantiate what you're saying, first of all. But you're saying there's a veteran player playing for B1.
Yeah, he want to play for B1.
But he cannot play for...
He cannot play no veteran football. That's what the president of football, that's what Cooper telling. If he play for B1, he can't play veteran football. And I'm looking at Satan playing for Foundation and he playing for VS. I'm looking at Bingi playing for GMC
and he's playing for Brazil. All right, well, I've never seen any statute that says that if you're playing for a veteran team, you can't play for a club. I've never seen that because...
Cooper told him that.
Okay, well, I can't substantiate whether Cooper told him that or not. You understand my position? You understand where I'm from, right? Where I'm coming from. I do not know what their conversation is. But what I'm saying to you, caller, is we have a black card competition where at the end of the day you would have a player like let's just say for argument's sake Eden Eve Charles playing for Northern United, and in the black card he plays for Grosley, and vice versa. So you can look at him playing in the black card for Grosley, and then he's playing for Northern United. So I do not see why. I do not see, and if there is a particular law that speaks specifically to that, perhaps we can get the SLFA to comment on that, and whether it's restricted.
Cooper telling me he can play for B1.
Oh yeah. Well, again, I can't substantiate whether that was said to him.
If he play for B1, he can play veteran football.
Okay. Well, you're correct in saying that Benjamin Satan Gabriel plays for Foundation. As a matter of fact, that's the team I know him to be playing for years. Yeah. I know him to be playing for a Foundation. I know the Veterans competition is a different competition, and he's played for VS. He's played for VSADC. So
and Bingy played for GMC, and he keeping for Grosley.
Yeah, well, that so I think everybody knows that. So again, caller, I do not know the nature of this individual's application to play for the two teams. Maybe there's something that I do not know, or maybe there's something that you do not know, and so we cannot.
But he was training them. I asked him why. I asked him what happened. Tell me, Cooper telling me keep for B.
Did you ask him why Cooper told him that? If Cooper said that,
if he registered B1, it's for B1. He can play no veteran football.
Okay, and he can't play veterans football for Marshall if he wanted to.
He can play veteran football naturally.
So he cannot play any veterans football.
No, because he registered B1.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution. I guess I'll have to find out what the situation is with that particular thing, and then perhaps I can then make a comment on it, because it sounds like there's more to it.
All right. I'll call next week. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So the lines are open. The number to call is 451-9788. There's so much to talk about. So much to talk about in terms of cricket, the CPL team, the captaincy, Solution franchise, and so many things. We have messages here. Okay, we have another caller. Good evening. You're live. Go ahead for contribution.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Good night, Kenson.
Yes, sir.
And good night, brother Sean, as well.
Good night, sir. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm just happy to see after such a long time that the Cricket Association has brought back today cricket. But I think we need to try as much as possible to do some work on marketing. Because I think there were a lot of persons who were not aware that the competition would have been starting this weekend. I mean, I live right next to the field, and I was not even aware that is what was happening. But I'm happy to see that some persons are really getting into it. Of course, I would like to report for a long time in the sport of cricket, Viewfort South was able to win a match, albeit against Viewfort North. But not only win, I mean, to have declared at 300 plus runs for 7, and then defeat Viewfort North by almost 150 runs is a good achievement in itself. And of course, we have to give credit to young Shelvin Charles, who scored at least 150 runs. In that game. That is something that has not gotten to the media. But I think, of course, again, I want to give credit to the Cricket Association for bringing back today cricket. I am just hoping that more people get involved in it. They try their best to make sure that it gets to the public and persons turn out to watch the games. Because that may be a start to encouraging persons to go to watch the bigger games at the Bosseju Cricket Ground, at the Darren Survey Cricket Ground.
Definitely, because I've always said if you have cricket happening on a local level and it's out there and people know about it. For instance, just as you said, the results from that Viewfort game, I've not seen anything on it in terms of getting it out there. But I wanted to ask you in terms of Viewfort cricket, because you guys have been excelling in football and cricket seemed to be languishing. I want to know why that is. And I remember there was a Harris guy. I'm trying to remember his first name. Last name Harris, played for Woodward Islands. You said something? Danny Harris. In terms of getting those sort of individuals and getting players like them from the Viewfort area, what must be done?
I think what has happened over the years, since when the reconstruction of the playing field was in motion, I mean, there was not much happening in terms of cricket. So that kind of took a nosedive. So it would have to take a lot from persons who are interested in the sport to bring it back. What we are hoping with the SPL that we had last year, that would have generated some interest. But more than anything else, I think we need to start pushing it through the schools. Because Sean mentioned earlier on about the grassroots program that goes through the schools. Yes, we have that taking place in the district. It takes place on the field, but I also think that we need to encourage even the older persons to come out and watch, so the older persons can influence the younger persons to take part in it.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution, caller.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so the number to call is 4519788. We have a number of messages that I'm hoping to get to. Somebody says, I don't agree to Lindell Simmons being chosen because over the past year he has been out of form both for the Talawas last year and Mumbai Indians. He was actually released from Mumbai Indians. He has gone past his best years. That's one opinion, and I've heard similar opinions about Lindell Simmons. That's what I'm saying. In terms of the first round, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Okay, somebody says no politics in cricket. Now mid already getting me vexed, bit confusing me. He said, why was John L not invited to your sports awards? Maybe that's why Cricket Association was not invited to the launch. Again, coming out from that sports awards, we saw a number of the cricketers saying and lamenting the fact that they were not invited to the awards. And John L was the previous junior cricketer of the year, and again not receiving an invite to that.
In all honesty, that was an oversight on the part of the office. I apologize profusely to John L's mother and father when I saw them. John L's invitations were sent out to affiliates. So the 16 affiliates, every single one of them received invitations.
Okay.
And very few of them showed up, which is disappointing. Our district affiliates, they find it very difficult to come to Castries for match activities. Even our meetings, when we have our meetings, all of our board of management meetings, we actually go down to Beaufort, which makes it a lot easier because you have Mabuya Valley, Dennery, Monrepo, Miku, Deriso. It's easier for them to come down to Beaufort as well as Soufrière and all the others.
Okay.
So what we do is that we just go through and we pick up people along the way. So it's a lot easier for them to make their way down to Labrie.
All right.
Beaufort, sorry.
Sorry about that. We have another caller. Good evening. You're live. Go ahead with your contribution.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Just a little comment I want to share about the cricket for the Stars. That Lyndon Simmons can keep, you know that?
Yeah, that's true. You can.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Good observation.
So Johnson Charles is not included in the.
He was drafted by Jamaica Talawas.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I like Pollard, you know.
You like Pollard?
You like.
What do you think about him being captain?
Yeah, I like him. That man is a very, very, very intelligent man with a lot of contact cricket. So I think he's a good choice.
Okay.
Yeah, I support him.
Okay. All right.
You're on your own there, brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your. I mean, that's the man's opinion. Thank you so much for your contribution. All right. Somebody says St. Lucia Stars missing Johnson Charles on the team. Many persons share that sort of sentiment. All right. Good night to Shauna from the rugby family. Yeah, boy, you have fans, boy, from rugby too. Yeah.
I just came from training with them. I'm in pain. Yeah. I'm in pain because I decided to go in the scrum. A little skinny fella like me want to go into the scrum.
Okay, cannot read that on TV, guys. Please keep.
My cousin Melissa has been sending me messages and asking me not to smile on TV. I thought I had a nice smile, Melissa. I don't know why you. Good night to everybody in Soufrière. The Soufrière T20 tournament just started on the weekend. So I'm encouraging people to go down to Soufrière. It's an excellent atmosphere. Go down to Soufrière and enjoy some cricket. Of course, shout out to my boys at Belfort. That's my team.
Keep it civil, St. Lucia. Keep it civil. Sorry. Somebody says, that's supposed to be Kenson. Good night. Permit me to express condolences to the president of All Blacks Veterans. That's Alfred Prosper, a.k.a. Starbuck, on the passing of his mother, also his brother Pius and his nephew James Prosper, wishing them God's guidance and strength as they go through this time of mourning, coming from Constable and his family. Good touch. Constable obviously love his cricket. Go ahead. Sorry.
I also want to, we also lost, we have a call?
Yeah, good evening. You're live on 758 Sports Talk. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, okay. The reason, good night.
Good night.
Yeah. The reason why Pollard is the best captain for St. Lucia Stars, because St. Lucia don't appreciate what is their own. If you really check Darren Sammy, when he overseas, the appreciation is just get from the crowd, from the people. But when the last tournament they had last year, there, before they give it to the captaincy to Shane Watson, when Darren Sammy lose 1-2 games, St. Lucia doesn't appreciate him. It's when you overseas he playing cricket, you could see the appreciation, like he feeling he at home. But when he's St. Lucia, he's not feeling at home. St. Lucia don't appreciate what is there. So right now, Pollard is the best captain for the team, because if Darren Sammy is captaincy, St. Lucia don't appreciate him.
So you think that St. Lucians would appreciate Pollard more than they did the Sammy? You think St. Lucians would support Pollard more as a captain of the St. Lucia Stars than Darren Sammy?
Darren Sammy is a better captain than Pollard. But what I'm trying to say, St. Lucia don't appreciate what is theirs.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. Good night.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution, caller. All right. Somebody says, good night, Kenson, and your guest. Great show as usual. I must say that it is very disappointing that the governing body of cricket has absolutely no say in the under-19 tournament, nor the St. Lucia Stars pick. Wow, just made an observation during the draft for the CPL. Well, not sure if I am wrong, but as if each of the franchise had some kind of a representative or a national of each country except the Stars. I'm not impressed at all with Pollard as being captain, and I don't think St. Lucians will take it in at all. Being a loyal and true lover of the game, I will go and support. Wishing the Stars best of luck this season. All right, good contribution. The only thing is the St. Lucia Cricket Association would not have any influence on who the Stars pick. But in terms of the organizing of the competition, they would have some, even if it's 0.1%, some say in what is good. All right, good evening. You're live. Go ahead with your contribution. All right, seem to have missed that call.
Before you go on, I would like to, there are a few people that we lost over the last few months. Mr. Tobier and Mr. Theophane from Cafe and Balka. They played in the Schwarzel League. And of course, young Nikolai Box. So I'd like to extend condolences to all of their families, especially Nick. I worked closely with Nick because I was his manager in the under-19 tournament when he first played under-19 cricket for St. Lucia. And Nick was always a helpful individual, always giving, well-disciplined, and caring. He was a total team person. He would sacrifice for the team. He was always brave. He'd go out there and attack and attack and attack. He would have been perfect for T20.
Yeah. All right, good evening. You're live. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Good night. Good evening.
Let me tell you, there's a competition going on. There's a competition going on, not going on, but will be taking place. The female football competition. I'm not hearing anything about it. Can you give me an update?
All right. Well, if you don't hear anything about it from me, that means I don't know about it. That means I don't have the information. Because DP myself, Ukai Connect.
Oh, okay.
That's Lawrence Adonis, right? DP myself, Ukai Connect.
Pan problem.
All right. Cool. Thank you very much. All right. Somebody says, good evening, Kenton. I don't agree to Pollard being captain. If he were in Barbados or wherever Pollard is from, his people won't agree the same. I'm not taking it in, and I totally agree with the last comment you read. All right. He's from Trinidad, but I get what you are saying. All right. Good evening. You're live. Go ahead for contribution. Turn on the volume of your television set, please.
Good night. One thing I want to tell you about franchise cricket. The owner of the team can select any person they want to for captain.
Yeah.
Because the same way, so Darren Sammy going overseas, and he getting a captain, and they have other overseas players, and they're not giving the captain the same way they can do it here, the same way.
Yeah.
So some people have to learn what is contact cricket.
Yeah. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. I think anybody knows the owner would pick, I mean, he and his staff would pick the captain. I don't think anybody's arguing that.
I don't think Sammy is not a good captain. But the person have a right to choose what they want. The owner of the team, the last team, the team takes much leaks. So he just feel like he can change the captain and see how the team will run.
Okay.
Darren Sammy go all Pakistan everywhere and captain, and they have other players the same way that better than good players. And they're not getting the captain. So I can understand what they come in with that point. That making sense.
Okay.
The person is the person team. They can choose anybody they want.
Yeah, that's true. You have a very good point there. It's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
It's his money, right?
Yeah, he's the one spending the money in the franchise. Yeah. But at the end of the day, solutions. But Caller, you will admit though.
You have to check it. Darren Sammy know it too.
But Caller,
Darren Sammy captain. Going everyone, captain.
That's very true. But Caller, you will admit too that at the end of the day, we all, even if we don't own the franchise, we all have a stake and we all have a voice. So we all, I mean, at the end of the day, remember last year the tickets were what? I think at some point $80 or was it $60?
About
yeah. At the end of the day, we have to realize, while you are correct, that we have some stake as supporters, as Lucians, because at the end of the day, when you win, for me, as long as you were in blue and yellow, black and white, and then you go and sit down in the conference room, and then you have my name, St. Lucia Stars, and then you sit down there and then you draft nonsense people. For me, I vex, and I will air my thing. Now, but if at the end of the day,
so where Chris Gayle, which Chris Gayle captain?
He's captain in St. Kitts. I mean, Cole, I'm not disagreeing with you, you know.
So that thing have to change. That thing on the state the same way it is.
Yes.
That's perspective that they have to change.
Well, I agree with you, but you have to accept that people will have their position.
With that.
Yes.
But take a look at this. Even in the SPL, John Eugene was the coach for South Castries, and John L was drafted by Central Castries. Okay?
Yeah.
So you have it's franchise cricket. Wherever you get drafted, that's where you play. Nicky Lybox played most of his cricket for Central Castries, and he played for Sufra.
We do appreciate what that makes sense. That point I know supporting that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Caller.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody says, I do not think that Pollard should captain.
You back what you say about cricket, about Shreya, sir.
Hello? You are still on the line. Okay, I have no idea what just happened. All right. Somebody says, I do not think that Pollard should captain. I disagree with that. We want Sammy. All right. Good evening. You're live. Go ahead with your contribution, Caller.
Hi, Kenson, and good night, Mr. Vice President. Sean,
good night.
You know, the last year CPL, St. Lucia Stars didn't win one game, you know. Right? I think the fact that Darren was the captain of the side that didn't win one game is not, in a twisted kind of way. We all appreciate his talent, his skill, his captaincy, competencies, and everything like that. But it did not reflect in the outcome or the results of the games. So in a twisted kind of way, you have an excellent captain leading a side that didn't win one game. You have a team selected again, and as Kenson has said, not very happy with the selection of the team. So stop for a minute and think about how you will proceed now, especially having installed Shane Watson for, I think, the last 2 games, or was it the last 3 games?
Last 4 games.
It was more like 4 games.
4 games. So Darren lost 6 as the captain. Shane lost the other 4.
Right. So was it the constitution of the team that was the problem, or was it?
Yeah, but it was. But if you look at the team, last year, Shane Watson was more or less semi-retired
and
injured most of the time. Shane Watson had an aggregate that total amount of runs that was totally woeful.
Right. So
for the kind of money that was spent on him. You also had this this guy from New Zealand who had been dropped from New Zealand for being an alcoholic, and then He comes down here and he's fatter than Kenson. So
yeah, but I all of that is pretty much throwing fuel on the fire that I have lit there.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is, and as Kenson alluded to earlier, not happy with the selection per se. So are you going to now thrust that on Darren again?
Yeah.
You know, to more or less, you know, okay, he's captain. What happens? The guys don't perform, the team doesn't win. So what do you have now?
Yeah.
So it's a really very bizarre kind of circumstance there, you know. We all know Darren is a superstar, the world over. So St. Lucians, I think, should wake up to the realization that it probably is a blessing in disguise for him not to be captain.
Yes, it is.
In this particular case.
He can go out and play his game.
On Darren at all.
Yeah. I mean, he's still getting, what, 70,000 from that draft? That's not bad for 6 weeks.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution, caller. I did say, however, that I thought that they were going to win games. I'm not. Hey, let me make sure I explain myself properly. I do not believe that the team is as woeful as last year and that they're not going to win any game. They're going to win some games, but I'm just not very optimistic. Good evening, you're live. Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, listen. Yeah. Good night. Oh, I just say, if you want to see how St. Lucia not back in there on Sammy, if you see the Stars just lose around a 3 games, one beer.
No. 2 games. Let them lose 2 games and you'll see the number of people coming into the stadium.
And they'll not qualify for the second round. You see how everybody's saying, remove Darren, give somebody to captain the team. Somebody else to captain the team.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I mean, I wouldn't give them 3 because, I mean, 2 or 1. I mean, judging from last year, not winning a game, if St. Lucia Stars, I mean, again, it has to do with pricing. It depends on how costly the tickets are because, I mean, a lot of St. Lucians, their perception is, I'm working hard for my money. I'm going to spend my money, buy a ticket. I want to see some quality cricket coming out from my investment. Again,
to be honest,
a true fan would not necessarily think that way. They would want to say, hey, at the end of the day, I'm investing in my team. I'm supporting my team. Let's get it done. Just now, I interrupted you, but we have a call. I'll get to you. Good evening. Go ahead for contribution.
Yes, good evening. I tuned in very late. A couple of friends told me about the show. A cricket lover, as I am, I had to switch in and listen.
Yeah.
I want to make a very quick comment. If Darren Sammy is not the captain, it's a blessing in disguise. And the reason why I want to say that is we know that he's an extremely good player. He puts his all into everything that he does. So with the pressure of not being captain, he can come in there, play his real game, and maybe the captain himself, who I guess is Poland, I'm not sure yet, because like I said, I tuned in late and I have not been on par with what's going on, may not even score in, because cricket is a very, very funny game. We all know that. And if he's not the captain, he can go in there and every match play his best, and he can take wickets, and he can put runs on the board. He can, and in the past, Sammy used to be man of the match for many 2020 that I can recall in the past. So for all you know, he may come play his best and be the best, the man of the match for each match, and the captain himself may not even play because just the pressure of trying to man the team will be too much for him to perform. So a blessing in disguise, whatever it is. Kudos to St. Lucia. At least we'll get in some matches, because I personally thought this year, because of the demise of the team, we will not have gotten anything this year. So I'm very grateful, but like I said, it may be a blessing in disguise. And Sammy will come, and then look what happened over the weekend. I'm there. He was injured, could barely walk, and then, I mean, he made the winning runs for his team of the last 7 balls, 17 runs needed. So in cricket, we know it's the fat lady who sings at the end of the game. Good night. Very good show. Bye.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Yeah, sure. You were saying.
Actually, forgot my trail of thought. Actually, not being captain is more of a blessing for him, because he can go out and play his game. Although I worry that he won't be used sufficiently. You remember there was a World Cup match. Was it? No. It was a regular ODI. And Bravo was captain, and Bravo never used him to bowl a single. He never bowled a ball. Okay, and all he has relegated was just to field. But even whilst Bravo was captain of the ODI team, you could clearly see that he was deferring everything to Sammy. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody says the caller is speaking the truth, but we as St. Lucians are expecting Darren Sammy to captain. All right. Somebody says, good evening. I for sure will not support Pollard, so St. Lucians should not go out. They should rename the team because we don't have Lucians on the team.
What is Darren Sammy?
He's the only one. Somebody says, good night, gentlemen. I would like to congratulate Kimani Melius on his 192 knock in the T20 game, which was played on Sunday, 4th March 2018 at the Debara playing field. I think we are talking about the Ezekiel Joseph competition, 192. Well done, Kimani Melius.
You put a little polish on that name, Ezekiel.
Ezekiel.
If you're from Babylon, it's Ezekiel.
All right, good evening. You're live. Go ahead with your contribution. Could you turn the volume on your television set down? Okay, I don't think that person is ready to make a contribution. All right, we can kill that one.
Before we don't have that much time, I just want to point out the ICC Women's World Cup will be played in St. Lucia. St. Lucia is hosting some of the group games. There'll be 10 games in total.
1 second, Junior, kill that call, please. Thank you. Yeah.
There'll be 10 games in total. The tournament starts in November this year, November 1st or 2nd, I believe. We also have the SPL, which will be hosted in St. Lucia. The second running of the SPL, I think it's in June 1st to the 17th. So that should be an excellent time to come out and watch cricket. St. Lucia is also going to be hosting the Windward Islands senior tournament in May this year. So it'll be a time to come see some of our stars, Johnson Charles and all the other guys will be taking part in the tournament. We also need to come see some of our young stars, Tarek Gabriel and Stephen Natram, if he gets to make the team, Jamal James. These guys are up-and-coming young cricketers, Donan Edward, Audie Alexander. Come see those guys because these are the future cricketers to watch.
All right. All right, good evening. Your final caller. Give us your go ahead with your contribution. Good evening. Go ahead with your contribution, caller.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Go ahead
with your contribution. All right, that call we need to end it as well. All right, somebody says Shane Watson, I guess, faked an injury. He sabotaged Sammy. He could not bowl, and as soon as you are given captaincy, you start bowling. The air within nothing. Patriots all the way. And Jodo, I have your back.
I also want to point out that on the 19th tournament kicks off next weekend. We have a Ballarama. On the 19th tournament is going to be sponsored this year by Sandals. So we're trying to make it a bigger, more grand affair. You mentioned Kimani Melius scoring at 192 in the Ezekiel Joseph T20 tournament. I also want to point out that this is his 24th century in all cricket. So congratulations to Kimani on hitting another century.
I think that's his 25th because he's got 192.
No, the 172 was his 23rd. That was his 24th.
Okay.
Okay. I follow Kimani as well. I know you have a love affair with Kimani, but I also follow it. All right.
I have a love affair with every single sports enthusiast that is doing anything big in St. Lucia. Final caller. Good evening. Let's see if this one works. You're live. Go ahead with your contribution.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, yes.
Go ahead with your contribution.
Just want to report on the Western Zone U14 ancillary games.
All right.
1987 All Stars. After having lost to Bays of South Castries last year, they came back and defeated a team which is much older, a lot more mature. When you looked at the two teams, you would have imagined that a bunch of 14-year-olds playing some 9-year-olds.
Wow.
But the 9-year-olds did very good. And they came from behind and defeated these 3 goals to 2. So, sorry, my apologies, trouble.
Okay.
So, congratulations to 1987 All-Stars, again continuing to prove that in spite of all the difficulties we have out here, that the work that's being done by President Cyrus Enkwa and the other members of the executive is beginning to pay off. So congratulations again to the U14 of the 1987 All-Stars. I also want to give special mention to the young lady, Chrisanne Senkwa, playing in central defense and ensuring that those youngsters, those boys, so to speak, did not get any measure of success over her. So congratulations again to U14 All-Stars.
Nice. Well done. All right, thank you so much. Yeah, we're getting some results. It's just the way it is posted. It's a bit sometimes confusing in terms of the football activities on the West Coast, but we'll definitely be featuring more and more of it. Final words from you quickly?
We continue with our cricket program this weekend. We have the Sinter Ogies women's tournament continuing. Rosalie versus South Castries, I believe. Rosalie versus South Castries will be played at the Darren Sammy Cricket Grounds, depending on the quality of the pitch, depending on the rain, the weather, because the weather affects cricket tremendously. In Sufra, you have the continuation of the Sufra T20 tournament. We will also be having some more 2-day cricket games around the island in different areas. Of course, as I indicated, the Under-19 tournament bowls up this weekend, sponsored by Sandals. We have a lot of things going on in cricket. Look out for promotions on the Women's World Cup coming in November, and our development programs. Of course, we talk about the stars on a regular basis, Kimani and John L. and Steve On and all the other young boys. Keegan and young Jaden Elibox took 7 wickets for Central Castries, against South Castries. So we talk about all these people on a regular basis, but I would like to encourage people to actually go out and see these guys in action. These are the future of West Indies, St. Lucia, Windward Islands, and West Indies cricket. And you have the opportunity now to see them before they get, as they say, get big. Okay, so please go out there and see them. We have a lot of young cricketers playing in the 2-day tournament. Keegan Arnold, young Jaden. Jaden just played on the 15 cricket. So you have a lot of young people playing on the 2-day cricket. So come out, come watch them, come be entertained by cricket. Before I go, if I don't do it, I will be chastised later. Good night to my hooligan crew. I'll be seeing you guys at the next fete.
All right. On that note, thank you, St. Lucia, for inviting us into your homes tonight. Interesting discussion on cricket. Of course, football always thrown in the mix. Somebody says, I want to say congratulations to Foundation Sports and Cultural Club under 14, defeating Harvey Junior 7-0. And so the messages will keep running until tomorrow. But thank you very much, guys, for joining our conversation on WhatsApp and also your contributions via the telephone. On behalf of our entire sports team, I am Kenson Casimir. Enjoy the rest of your night.